Hello and welcome to this episode of the Online Course Creator Show. Today I am hopping in with a super quick episode because I have just come out of the launch of Moneymakers and I'm actually pre-recording this, so the launch hasn't even happened yet at the time that I'm recording this episode. But I also know that I'm going to need some time out, and I still wanted to make sure that I had a podcast episode coming out. I also wanted it to be something that's super easy to listen to, super easy to action. And I think what I'm sharing with you on this podcast is a really good reminder, or maybe you haven't even thought about it yet. And I know that personally, I got reminded of this recently by my coach, and it really made me think about how I can get the most momentum with the least amount of effort, okay? And that's going to make our business feel easier. And actually, I use this quite a lot in my last launch because any project or, maybe it's just new regular marketing, we can get really sidetracked by shiny objects, by things that other people are doing. And really often when we're trying to force ourselves into something that's not for us naturally, then it feels a lot harder. And it is a lot harder. It's more time consuming. It takes more energy, it takes more time because it's not natural. So what I want you to do is really focus on your strengths. So what did this look like for my recent launch? It meant that I did Facebook ads and actually let them do a lot of the work for me instead of putting pressure on myself to show up on social media, which is something that I would love to improve on in the future, but I haven't had the bandwidth to right now. So I let the Facebook ads do the work. I have that skill already. Okay. So that's a skill that I have learned and obviously through my work, but it's a skill I've had for a long time. So I find that relatively easy. So I use Facebook ads. I really, really focused on the podcast, particularly in the last 2 weeks, because I love to talk. So that felt a lot easier for me. I also committed to showing up and doing some Instagram lives. Again, I love to chat. I'm not so much of a person who loves sitting there fiddling with my phone, editing videos and that kind of thing. So I didn't really do many reels. Okay. So I want you to start seeing how I have particularly used this and how you could too. So the first thing that you need to get really clear on is, are you good at writing? You an extrovert who loves to be the center of attention and do crazy stuff? Are you someone that has a skill in a particular area? Maybe you are great at editing videos. Are you someone that really likes to build deep relationship over surface level? And actually that one can really help you pick the type of scalable product that you're creating as well. Are you someone that loves to build relationships and loves networking? Then lean into that as part of your launch strategy. Like there's ways to connect in all ways. Are you a talker, a writer, a connector? The key is to know what your skill set is. As I said, I am more of a talker. I love to talk. I could talk for hours. And while, yes, at the end of the day, I'm going to be tired from that, it's actually given me a lot of energy as well, like good energy. Whereas I used to be a writer in a previous life, I feel like I do not have the patience for writing as much anymore. So I actually try to steer clear of that. And I will use tools to help me. So I will use ChatGPT for the stuff that I don't particularly want to do. So I'll record my podcast to come up with the outline myself, record it. And once that has happened, I'll actually get ChatGPT to do a lot of the writing and the content creation that happens from that point on. So we're using tools to help us. We're focusing on our strengths. We're not getting stuck in things that we should be doing based on what other people are doing. So there's no shortage of strategies, right? You just have to log onto Instagram and go for a little scroll and people will be telling you to do 100 different things. But how can you get somewhere faster in a way that feels easier? Is actually focusing on your own strengths and knowing what they are and really tapping into them. So outside of a launch, you could also look at this in your regular marketing. How are you creating content, in between launches or the rest of the time? So if you are someone that loves writing, then a blog is going to be great for you. Or you could start your own Substack, or you could focus on threads. You could also share a lot of content that doesn't need pictures and images attached to it in any social media platform, really. The exception to that would be Instagram, because I feel like Instagram is a very visual platform, but you could, share on LinkedIn, share big long posts on there. That can work as well. You could start a newsletter on LinkedIn. So tapping into those strengths. If you are someone that loves to perform, then Reels or TikTok are going to work great for you. If you love editing and you also love, showing up and talking as well, then maybe YouTube would be a really great option for you. And if you love to talk like I do, then a podcast could be a great thing for you to start. Like, I find it so much easier to hop on a podcast. I can talk for an hour. Yet if I wrote for an hour, you would hate to see the avoidance that goes on with that. I would find myself sidetracked and down rabbit holes so many times. Whereas once I'm on a podcast and I'm talking into a microphone, nothing will get in my way. So it's about knowing yourself, knowing what you're good at, utilizing skills that you have picked up in the past and using that to your advantage rather than trying to fit yourself into a box that, quite frankly, you're never going to fit into. And this is your ticket to an easier business where you're going to get further, faster, with less effort. And you don't need to be doing every single thing. As I said, there's so many strategies you could be doing. Just focus on the ones that work for you. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of an aha moment about where you could actually be spending your time in your business and what's going to make the biggest impact. Because, this business thing, it is a marathon. We're not here for the short term, we are here for the long term. And any way that you can capitalize on your strengths and make it feel easier is going to have a big impact. It's also going to help you make decisions about which path you should go down. If you know what you're good at, you can easily say, hey, that sounds like a great opportunity, but it's not for me. I'm going to focus on this because I know that I can pull that one off. So just focus on what you do best. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little short episode from me. And I also want to say, if you have been listening to the podcast over the last 2 weeks and you've heard me talking about moneymakers a lot, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And the launch is over now. We are moving on to more content. I'm really looking at getting more guests on the show because I have had hardly any guests for quite a long time. I'm also looking at talking about more like different topics for a little bit and not so much on launching. So I'm really excited about that because there's so much around online business that we can help you with on the show. So stay tuned. I'd love to see you on the next episode. And thank you so much for continuing to show up and listen. Thanks, course creators and go-getters. You're incredible, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit subscribe in your podcast app so you don't miss an episode. If you'd like to find out more about what I offer, head across to loublakely.com. See you next time.